Yo, Novatos, thanks again for tuning into yet another video. Infamous coming at you with yet another Lowrider ST video. At this point, you guys are probably sick of it. But I just wanted to, I guess, address this one video since the pricing, the overall design of the bike, and people out there are, they're talking about trading in for this bike. And, it just depends on what you ride, honestly. But if you're riding a M8 Softail, then, I mean, it's pretty much still the same bike, all right? Of course, I haven't ridden this bike. I don't know how this frame feels. I don't know how it performs, but based on the videos and the engineering from Harley, it seems like it's it's legit. It's probably the next best thing, when you're comparing to a frame mounted fairing such as a Road Glide. But of course, this is a different bike. It's not necessarily a touring bike, and it's not really a Softail. This is why I kind of say, this bike's in a category of its own. And just wanted to, I guess, explain who this might be for. If you're somewhere out there and you're thinking about trading in, or you're thinking about buying this bike, I believe this bike is mainly for those riders that do a lot of solo riding. I mean, they don't do two up too much, maybe minimal, maybe 95% solo riding and a little bit of two up riding. I mean, this is just mainly for those guys that want that extra protection, that wind protection, that comfort of a frame mounted fairing, and they want a lighter bike. The touring models, you're looking at 850 pounds on some of those bikes. And when you're looking at this new ST, this thing weighs in under 750, so you're still about 100 pounds lighter than a frame, than a heavy touring bike. So it's going to be a little bit more agile. It's going to handle a little bit better. And it's not going to have that same comfort. It's not going to have those benefits having a heavier bike on, like, let's say Highway 5 where there's high winds. But I think the compromise is, more city riding than highway riding, and more solo riding than two-up riding. So I believe that's where this bike is kind of directed at to, or riders. So if you're someone that has, a street bob, because I've been hearing this a lot, or a standard or something along those lines, and you're looking for a little bit more or something else, there's other bikes you could probably consider if that's the direction you're going to. If you do more two-up riding than solo riding, then of course you want to, get on a touring model. And based off the price here, $21,749, plus a few fees, you're somewhere around this price range already, $22,249. And of course, this isn't going to have that same, torque as a 117 that weighs 100 pounds lighter. It's not going to have that same performance. It's not going to have the same handling at low speeds or around town. It's just, they're built differently, of course, but they're both good looking bikes. So it just depends more on your riding. And I've seen the people that buy the street bobs and they're trying to make them into something like this, and it's just not going to work out, because there's a lot of parts for you to consider, to get it to this level of performance and this level of handling. And just little benefits, a few features in here that the Lowrider ST offers that there's just no way of getting there with a standard or a FAP or a street bob. You just have to know your riding and what you kind of planning into getting into. This is more of a well-rounded bike, a street bob, a bobber style bike that's minimal. It's more feel, sound, the overall experience of owning a big air cooled V twin. It's more, it's a little bit more torque, mainly because of course it's a little bit lighter than this. I believe it's under 600 pounds, the street bob. And then of course, let's talk about my own build, my own ST Lowrider ish, I guess, my own ST ish Lowrider S. It weighs still less than this bike. So, and the reason why I kind of built it out the way I did is, I've already mentioned it a few times. I wanted a bike that I was able to detach, all the components, and then have it on the weekends. More of a fun, more of a bobberish style of a bike on the weekends. And then during the weekdays when I commute to work, I'm able to go ahead and throw those components on there. And based off of where I used to work and where I work at now, my build still functions the way it should for me, because I used to commute a little bit further out from where I lived, and I had, of course, the saddlebags and the fairing to help out. And now I work a little bit closer to home, but I still have, those benefits: a lighter bike, mid controls, more of a performance feel than I would have with something like this. So like I said, it just depends on what you're getting out of it. If I was commuting maybe, an hour out, or 40 minutes, or somewhere around there, if I was commuting from Salinas, then I would probably, consider something like this, a little bit more comfort for, highway riding. But now that I'm commuting a little bit, I was kind of in between before, 30 to 40 minutes, and my ST, or my lowrider, was, it still functioned as it should. I'm still able to enjoy the ride and, ride, 60, 70 miles per hour, during my commute. And now I'm, riding more city, and I still have all those benefits of having a lighter bike. But like I said, this is just a video. It's just, I guess, just to help you guys out if you're out there considering, getting this bike, or if you have a Street Bob 114 and, you still do the same type of riding, it hasn't changed. You could, it's your money, but this bike's still going to feel the same as your 114. Street Bob's going to have that same feel. It's the same frame, and the overall suspension is about the same. I believe it has a heritage shock in it, so it's a little bit taller. And this is just Harley responding to those folks that wanted this bike. If you guys remember, 2 years ago, Laylaw made a lot of those Coastal Glide bikes, and they were popular, and there's still a lot of people building this bike. So if you're someone that has that desire to have a Coastal Glide bike, then your best bet is, of course, going with the ST, because it's just the parts and the frame mounted fairing, the paint. There's a lot of things in there, even with the aftermarket parts that are specifically designed for your lowrider. They don't necessarily fit. They're made out of fiberglass. There's imperfections. You have to prep them. There's a lot of work to do. So if you're out there and you're looking for that sort of style of bike, that's good for city riding and it's good for highway riding, then this is it for you guys. And at $21,749, that's a really good price from Harley-Davidson. They did a really good job with this one. They just completely knocked it out of the park. But that's just me, giving my own 2 cents. If you're out there wondering, I'm looking forward to riding this bike and feeling this new fairing. Of course, I'm sure it's going to feel great. And just leave your comments down below. What do you guys think? Who do you think this bike is directed towards or directed at? Share your thoughts. I appreciate all you guys' feedback. You guys just stay out there, stay safe. Don't believe everything you read. Life's a risk. Get out there and ride. Later.